Good morning, everybody. Good morning, and welcome back to Coffee Time. It is it is my 50th birthday today. Today is the day. I know that I can see that you remembered. Thank you so much. I have not been in a good place this morning at all. Oh man, but I am here. I didn't think I'd make it for a while. I was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Um, Snapped it back just in time for coffee time. Let's see, I put a lot of makeup on one of those days. Let me see who's here and say good morning. Thank you so much for your greetings. You know, I wanted to bring my, let me know if my volumes are right, because remember on Friday for cocktail time there was a problem with my volume. I got some treasures and stuff in the mail, and I forgot to bring all the mail stuff. I'm telling you, it was, I don't know what it was. I mean, it's like, so 50th birthday, I guess it's like, it's a big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal, but when I woke up, I was crazy. So, all emotional and whatever. And I just got the kids off to school, and then I just started crying. Who knows why? Like, just pressure buildup, book, depression, stress, insanity. I ended up dropping off Teddy and then realizing I forgot something that I had to go back for. But in the meantime, I passed McDonald's. And I typically don't eat at McDonald's for breakfast, but I went through the drive through and just started crying at the drive through, just like, yeah, I'll take an egg McMuffin. Completely crazy, completely break from reality. And I got my McDonald's breakfast. And then I thought, you know what? I think part of this might be that I've put on like 40 pounds. So I just literally drove across the parking lot to my old gym that I have not stepped foot in for, we're going on 2 years. And I signed back up again. And I was crying at the counter there too. So like that was normal, right? That's just something that they see every day, you know, someone crazy showing up. And but yeah, eventually I got it together. And I guess I'm going to go to the gym tonight, maybe exercise or something, and try to snap it all back. But it's been a hard morning for sure. Let's see, HC. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're writing from Belgium. Now, are you a Dutch-speaking Belgian or a French-speaking? I'm just wondering. Not that I'm going to practice my Dutch on the air. It's been a while, but I'm just wondering. Oh, you're near Bruges. Well, then you are French-speaking. But Bruges is one of my favorite cities. I have not been there for a few years, maybe like 5, 7 years. But what a beautiful city Bruges is. Beautiful market and little places to go. I forget where I ate where I was there. I ate at the same place every night because it was so good. I didn't want to take a chance. Beautiful place with like a stone floor, big fireplace, lots of snails to eat, lots of nice things. It was just a beautiful city. Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. I'm glad you said that. That gave me something beautiful to remember. It's been a little while. Kirsten, thank you so much. Frigid Vermont. It is frigid here too. It is a terribly cold day. There seems to be a problem with black ice because I thought I wasn't going to run coffee time, so I was repacking the car. Jay was helping me get downstairs, and as soon as I walked out the door onto the curve, it was like a cartoon. Like my legs were just like out from under me. Just absolutely frigid cold, black ice day. It was crazy. It was crazy. I recovered. Oh my God. What a day so far. Robin, good to see you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It will be a good time. It will be a good time eventually. Suzette, you logged on. Great to see you. Suzette, I had the box and I was going to open it live today and I left all my mail on the kitchen table. I'm so sorry. I'm going to look at what Suzette sent earlier. Remember Suzette does, well, you wouldn't remember because the book isn't out yet, but Suzette does the most beautiful. Suzette, make sure that you put a link, right, to like your page. Suzette teaches and does the most beautiful work with penny rug stuff. It is exquisitely beautiful. I can't wait to get inside that box. I'm such a ding dong. Linda, good to see you. Thank you so much. Joyce, thank you so much in Pennsylvania. I was just talking about Pennsylvania, another place where I must go. Tara, great to see you. Thank you for your sweet messages. Yeah, this morning I was just like, I wanted to respond and be normal, but I just was not super normal. But it's passing. It's lifting a little bit. It feels good to have signed up at the gym again. And I know that I'll go because I gave the money. So I know that I'll go. I didn't sign the kids up though. You know, I wanted to sign up Teddy because he's always struggling with his weight too. But I just didn't feel good about it. People at the gym are like, it's mask optional, which is fine. But with the kids, for me, it's not fine. They just touch everything and lick everything and rub their faces all over everything. So I don't know that I want him in that. Even though he's older, I don't think he thinks all the time. Nobody can think all the time about what you're touching and whatever. But I think it's already a positive thing, right? If I can get back to my normal. And you know, it's like weight is such a funny thing, isn't it? Because I feel like I look fine. I'm happy with the way that I look, but it's this weird thing that I've always been smaller, and I was always a huge athlete when I was younger. And I'm just constantly, you know, picking and pulling, and you know, and I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of all this, like all the time. Just sick of it. I'd rather just do something about it because it's obviously in my head, right? So might as well address it. And I'm only comparing myself to myself. And I can't compare myself to myself 20 years ago, but I can compare myself to myself 2 years ago. And I'm 40 pounds heavier, so that seems fair enough, right? Aileen, good to see you. Thank you so much. Linda B and Linda H, thank you so much. Before I forget, we're going to continue where we left off on Friday night with we started our first ever gallery night. It turned out to be quite a number of images that we were looking at, your images. So for the first time, and we're going to do this monthly, it was something that I call gallery night. I think that's a good one. Maybe that sticks unless you have a better idea. We're looking at each other's work that we're working on or favorite pieces that we've done so far. And it's just a way to share, you know, in live time and to be able to make comments on things people are working on. Some people asking for feedback, that kind of thing. And for other people to say, listen, I don't think you're packing. It looks good to me. Or where did you get that pattern? That's beautiful. That's exactly what I feel like cooking this time of year. So we're going to get back to our gallery list, and some other people sent more gallery images in the meantime. But that's what we're going to do today on Coffee Time. So I will be there in just a minute with our commentary. Doreen, great to see you. It is going to be a fine birthday, and I had a great weekend. I'll tell you about that. So I can't complain, right? I can't, and I shouldn't complain. I've got plenty of things to be thankful for. And good to see you. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Donna. Good to see you in Alberta. Volume is good. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, thumbs up, please, for these videos. These videos are doing well. People are finding them, and I hope more people find them. It's always funny that subscription numbers for the YouTube channels, not just me, but everybody in hooking, is lower than, for example, with the Facebook group. And I guess that's just in the nature of things. And I continue to get calls, not calls, but messages. Like Mary Jo Taylor was on the other night, and we were talking about her brand, Northwest Folk Design, right? Her beautiful images we looked at, one that she had done and one that Susan Gordon had done of Mary Jo's designs on Friday. And she said, I was trying to respond, but I couldn't type it and have it show. And I think the problem, and you know better than me, I'm sure, but I think the problem continues to be that you need to have a Google account to be able to comment to these videos. That seems to be the common denominator, that Big Brother always wants you to be logged in a way that they recognize you so that you can type a comment. So that's often it when you're having a struggle, but I am the last person to ask for computer help, I'll tell you. There's nobody worse than me. Linda Ann, good to see you. Paula, great to see you. Thank you so much. It will be fabulous later. I sound like, because I was crying so much this morning, because I'm crazy, I sound really congested, but it's all fine. I'm not sick. I'm just crazy. Cynthia, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. I'm just reading your comments here. Oh, Cindy, great to see you. And Annette, great to see you. Annette, I have your picture to show today. Oh, thank you so much, Catalina. And Beverly, thank you so much. Dave, thank you. Thank you. It will be fine. This is going to stabilize me quite a bit, just being together and talking like this. Crafter's Grimoire, good to see you this morning. Crystal, thank you so much. Oh, Heidi, that's you, HC. Of course it is. You're opening. Dutch speaking. Oh, okay. See, I don't remember them speaking Dutch in Bruges. But you know what? I was living in the Netherlands then, and my Dutch was quite ready. So maybe that's why, because I just easily switched. It's funny how that's gone away, and it's funny how I always had French as a very strong second language until I moved to the Netherlands. And it's weird. I don't know if this has happened to you, if you've taken on another language and had to speak it like all the time, a second language. But as soon as I started learning Dutch, because I had to go to night school and learn it and everything, just because even though most people by far speak English, you know, I liked to take little day trips, and I would often take the babies, they were little then, on the train, go to small villages and stuff, and then I would encounter people in stores who didn't really speak English. And you can't expect them to speak English because I'm over there, and you know, it's my job to assimilate, right? So I took classes all the time, but as soon as I started taking Dutch, I couldn't access the French anymore. It was like this, because I was speaking Dutch all the time, the French was completely blocked. I wonder if that happens to other people. I would try to think of the simplest word in, like, visit France, right, on the train, and try to think of the simplest sentence to ask for something, and I just could not. Everything was coming out in Dutch because it was right there in the front. It was so strange. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I only have the intellectual capacity to hold two languages in my head. That wouldn't be surprising at all. But Heidi, it's so good to see you. I'm glad that you're there. Lisa, thank you so much. I'm so disappointed, Lisa, that event, what was it, the Fiber Festival or the Fiber Fest it was coming up in March in Pennsylvania. I'm so disappointed that that's canceled because so many things are coming back this year. And make sure that you let us know both on our Facebook page, which is Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club, and also in our thread. Make sure you let us know, or let me know at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com, what's happening fabric-wise, event-wise, hooking-wise, where you are. Because I can spread the word with my big mouth and we can share all this information, because things are coming back, right? Depending on where you are. I noticed that the toy convention, Connecticut Toy and Video Game Convention is coming back to one of the big casinos here. So of course Teddy wants to do that because this has been off for 2 years. And a few other local events. Jay was saying this weekend, a couple of the chili festivals coming back this year after a long hiatus. Things are coming back, so make sure you keep me updated so I can spread the word too. I'd love to have a huge laundry list of things to tell you that are going on as we get into spring, as we get into the milder and gentler weather. How nice it will be when it's safe and appropriate and it makes sense to get back out there and start enjoying things in person. So it's sad to see things canceled. I think we're all waiting also, if you are waiting for information about sign up for the ATHA Biennial, it was postponed, right? And I'm hoping you got that email, because tomorrow was supposed to be the morning, March 1st, it's February 28th, that you could start signing up for classes. And an email came out over the weekend saying that there's a problem with the computer system, mysterious things, right? But it won't be March 1st. So you should get an email, or you should register if you're looking for updates on that, because from what I understand, it is like a land rush when it's time to sign up, right? We're all going to want to sign up for the classes that we want. Lisa says it was put on by, the Woolwrights Rug Hooking Guild, and due to lack of registration. Oh no! See, that's such a bummer, and I'm to blame too, because I didn't officially register. I just put it on my calendar, which doesn't help communicate anything to anyone. I'm so sorry to hear that. I feel really responsible now. I didn't get that. I'm always in such a hurry. When you told me the date, I just recorded it. And in my mind, it was like, check mark, done. But it's not done if you don't register. So that's a good reminder. I'm so sorry about that. And I have been moving forward with plans to plan a retreat, like I would say early fall. We'll do a ribbon candy hooking thing, and I want to invite some other friends who are teachers, people who you will certainly know, and just have a getaway where we can go to a few historic houses, look at some really old rugs, and take tours. I'm trying to roll everything into a bundle, price it out, get all that stuff settled and done. And Kira's helping me with that, but she's traveling right now. So we're going to come back to that soon. We're going to circle back. You're not supposed to say that anymore, right? That's too annoying. But we are going to circle back, and we'll get that done. So we'll put some other things on the calendar, but I am disappointed about that. Kirsten says, yes, you have to be logged in to comment on YouTube. Yeah. Big brother. Joan, good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And in some ways I'm glad it's not the 29th, because life was so dramatic back then. But at the same time, you do get this, I guess, you get this weird feeling when you come to these milestone birthdays, not so much about like, how fat and ugly am I, which is like one of my struggles this morning, but more like bigger, broader ideas like, what have I done with my life? Am I where I planned to be with my life? Who's here? Who's gone, right, to celebrate? All of these really big thoughts. And I guess that's what chokes you up and gets you on these big days. But yeah, I'm getting hit by a variety of stuff this morning. Carol, thank you so much. Linda Ann says, my husband usually listens to you when I'm rewatching the videos at night. However, today I told him that I had to log in live. Oh, thank you so much. That is so nice. And I'm so happy when I hear that husbands and partners are listening in the background, because that's some kind of indicator that it's not so terribly boring, that it can be heard by other people who are not like active, crafters, hookers, punchers, right? So that's always a good sign. Crafter's Grimoire suggested, Deanna, while you work out, oh, I'm waiting for the rest of that suggestion. I feel like that got cut off. I need a suggestion while I work out. The only reason I go to the gym is to do Zumba and like move around, because I have no discipline to just be on a machine. And I am going to use the trainer next door too for me and Teddy one day a week, but training is super expensive. It's like he charges like $85 an hour and he's giving us a break, but that's it. That's a lot. Not that I'm devaluing it, because I know it's a lot of training, a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise and all that, but it was like sticker shock when I heard that. So we'll do that because Teddy needs to get going too, but then I'll get my butt over there and Zumba during the day just so I can move this pile of lard from one place to the next in hopes that like some pounds go away. I guess that's the idea, right? Because birdsong tells, so automatically, it will automatically relax the deepest part of your brain. God, I hope so. Play forest birdsong and sniff pine scents. It's funny you say that, because I've recently bought a bunch of like those balsam pillows, those real crafty things that people stuff with this beautiful, fabric, foresty fabric. I love that smell, and I've gotten into the habit after a long break of putting pillows with scents that I like balsam, pine, like all these evergreen smells under my pillow. And I used to do that years ago with lavender when I was a tour guide, because I was in a different bed every night in a different hotel for like, almost the entire year, every year, year after year. And having a little pillow under the bed or near my face while I was sleeping made a big difference, because somehow subconsciously it relaxed me enough that it was reminding me that something was the same and something was familiar. And as soon as I started doing that, I found it a lot easier to fall asleep and stay. Also sleeping pills, like I'm terribly guilty of that, but just having that sameness every night when everything else is wild and wacky and moving and different was super helpful. So I can see how that is a suggestion that goes along the same line, and it makes a lot of common sense too. Thank you so much. I think I'll do that. Association, right? Because scent is supposed to be your strongest sense. Isn't that what they always say? Even more than sight or hearing or anything. Although I have to say, when I hear a song, I can remember the last time I heard that song, even if it was 30 years ago, Oh, we were sitting on this rock in this park and all that. Lisa says, oh, okay. Oh, they were disappointed too, Lisa. I'm so sorry to hear that. Now I understand the full story. Yeah, dangy. Linda says, I'm really enjoying the gallery show and seeing everyone's work. Me too. Let's get to it. Corey, good to see you. You haven't been on in a few weeks. Well, you're back. It's great. It has to fit in, right? It has to make sense in your life. So before I start, there's a bunch of things I want to tell you that I think are interesting things. I have a question for you that is not rug hooking related, and I know that one of you has the answer to this question, so get ready, because this is going to be a wacky one. Nancy, good to see you. Enjoy the journey. You're right. You're right. You're right. It's how it you lock it into your head. I've been in a panic thing, but you're right. It's about enjoying, embracing, and being at peace. Getting to peace is like where I need to be right now. Crafter's Grimoire says, if you can hike Appalachian Trail, oh, I would love to. North of Pennington, Vermont, Pine Scent. Oh, that sounds. See, that would be a great association to make that hike and then lock that in. Wouldn't that be nice? That sounds fantastic. Oh, I love that part of Vermont too. Amanda, great to see you in Minnesota. Bennington. Okay, I was going to say Pennington. It had to be Bennington, right? And there's a couple great antique stores there too that I've been to recently, and they were quite good still. So, all right. So, this is what I found at Savers this weekend. So, I took off. Jay said, do you want to come to like Rockport, Mass, Cape Ann, which is one of my favorite places, because you know that I've been working on this book nonstop, and I have had no time to come up for air. And I put in 4 chapters on Friday night after cocktail night, braiding, Pradi, Amish toothbrush, and one other one. Right, that's how quickly it goes. But I got them in. I got them in very late. One of them was a little bit incomplete. I had to send more photos this morning. So that felt good. It doesn't mean I'm done by any means, but that was a huge weight off my brain. And it felt like a weight was lifted off of me too. I felt like I was being pressed to death, Salem witch style. So we went up to that area, Salem, Rockport, all that. And we had such a nice time. We cruised around. I'll show you in the slideshow a couple of the things that I found, because I found an Amish toothbrush rug. It was the first one I found like out in the world, right? Seen pictures of them from the earlier 20th century, but I've never found one in person. And this is the first one I found. I didn't buy it because it was like manky beyond mank. Like it was dirty beyond ever being able to fix. And I thought, do I need more dirty stuff in my life? Like, isn't it's a metaphor and literal. Do I need more dirty stuff? So I left it, but I'm going to show you a nice picture of that. We saw quite a few things, and we stopped at a few savers, and they're not my favorites. You know, I like the really wild stuff where people drop things off from old estates and things like that. But once in a while, Savers has something that I think is quite pretty. Now, this reminds me of needlepoint, but this is not needlepoint, and it's not even textile. So the question is, because I don't know the answer, what is this, right? Here it comes. I should have taken a photo of it. What is this? So I'll bring it in closer, but it's in a frame. It's a picture. You can come in. It appears to be like pieces of plastic.
I didn't know what you were talking
Oh,
about.
you wanted to see what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing we got last night. Pieces of plastic. They look to be, I don't know, like sticker down or glued down or something, or maybe there's a tool. But do you know what this is? I mean, in terms of the name of the craft, it might be one of these things that they suddenly sell at Joann's or Michael's or something, one of the big box craft stores, cross stitch. No, it looks like cross stitch. Gem art. Okay, Linda Ann, is this gem art? Because if it is, I need a piece of this. I'll never leave my textiles. No, that's okay. It looks like cross stitch. That's why I picked it up, because I thought, oh, isn't that pretty? And then I looked, and it's hard to tell here, but I'll take a picture of it for our Facebook group. It really glitters. Diamond painting. Okay, so you know what?
Gem art.
Gem art, diamond painting. I think it's probably called a few different things, because different companies are probably manufacturing this. But I was so blown away. It's so shiny. You know, it's so different. I'll see if I can get the frame off and take some close-up pictures.
Diamond painting.
Diamond painting. So Jay says it's called both. You're all right. I knew that you would know. I couldn't imagine. I just picked it up and it was $3.99. Oh my word. Yeah. Oh, isn't that cool? Wonder if you can see that. It's like a bulldog. Gem art. Interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
You insert with a tool. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking, like a
little
stylus or
yeah,
something.
Exactly.
Interesting. I might get into that for, with the kids, moments with the kids, because I think Joss would probably like this. But I just couldn't believe how different it was and how colorful it was. And I normally wouldn't pick up something silly that wasn't a textile, but I just had to. I thought it was remarkably pretty. Doesn't want to sit back down, but there it goes. I thought that was remarkably pretty. Thank you so much. Gem art, diamond painting. See, you all know. See, Carol, it looks like beads, but they're flat backs, you know. I'm going to have to look up diamond painting and gem art. That is amazing. Yeah, they are definitely flat beads. They're tiny little things. It looks just like a cross stitch, but when you get closer, you can see it's not textile, and there is such like a, I don't know, luminescence to it. It almost looks like glass, like Swarovski crystal or something. It's so pretty. It really is so pretty. I don't think I'm going to be able to get a photo that really relays how pretty it is. Interesting. See, you all knew. I knew you would. You insert them with a tool. Oh, so I wonder if the backing is like textured or if you're just gluing them on. I'm going to have to check that out. You use tweezers, but you haven't done it. Well, that makes a lot of sense because these things must be tiny. It must be so aggravating if they flip over, though, right? I think it's still worthwhile. You know what would be, okay, here we go. You know what would be great is if you had an idea for like a rug hooking project, if you wanted to test the colors in something other than two-dimensional paint or a computer program, or colored pencils, you could do it in this, right? You could lay it out in this, and then you would get a real true depiction of what it was going to look like, because these look like stitches. I thought that was just amazing. I think Jocelyn's going to love that with glue. Yeah. This sounds very good. I typically steer away from projects that involve glue because, number one, as soon as I open the super glue, the cap glues itself to itself, and then that Yeah, that's something that I don't handle well when I discover that I can't get the cap off. And inevitably, you know this, right? You glue your fingers together like this from everybody does it. It's impossible not to, right? Corey says you load it up with a little tool. That is cool. Crafter's Grimoire says there is a crochet designer who also does that. That's very cool. You could, I have to see what the process is, but in theory, you could really do some fantastic planning with these little gems, and I'm guessing that they probably sell the gems color-wise. There are such crazy colors in here. These aren't like primary colors, right? There's like periwinkle and sage and copper and bright orange and light orange and 20 shades of blue, right? It would be great to be able to get lots of different ones of these and to be able to experiment that way, because that would be a great way to begin your color planning. If you're going to do a big project, it would be worth spending an evening laying it out with something like this to have a really very fixed idea of what to expect once you get started, right? And you could experiment with different colors that you think, do I want orange or do I want to stay safe with peach? It'd be a great way of checking all of that, wouldn't it? Just fun. I was very happy that I stumbled into that. Joan says, think of blowing up a photo so it's pixelated and each pixel is a diamond. Exactly. And you know, normally things are too pixelated for me, and I think it's distracting. And that's why I love textile, because it cushes together and mushes and mashes so softly and well, that I feel like there's such continuity and unity in textile art. Where stuff like this I don't typically like, but these are so tiny. Like, for example, we bedazzled quite a bit. Jocelyn is still a bedazzler, and we get all the bedazzling things. Now, those things never stay on with the glue, and we do it the right way. You know, she did last time we went to New York City, it was a while ago, but she did the skyline of New York City, and she wrote Jocelyn on it. And by the time we got in the car, honestly, half of the skyline was gone. I mean, it was like super irritating. But this is behind plexiglass or glass, and it seems really secure, really secure. Very cool. That is a really good idea. Usually they are in kits. Yeah, that's what I thought, Anne. I wonder if they do sell the colors independently of the kits, though. That would be real helpful to be able to switch out the colors that you wanted. It's probably one of these flash-in-the-pan crafts, right? Like everything that comes and goes at TJ Maxx and Michael's and Joann's. It might be that once people are done gemming it with this picture painted crystal thing, that those things are very scarce on eBay and you just can't get them anymore. That's part of the worry, right? In theory, I love this though. Tara says I always glue the cap to my fingers. That's the third of the Holy Trinity, right? Cap to itself, fingers to fingers, cap to fingers. That's like guarantee, isn't it? Oh, interesting. The glue is wax. Oh, Amanda, well that's a game changer. The glue is wax. Well, that would be cool. Because have you ever seen? I'm going to get to commentary and context soon. Have you ever seen, like in Vermont? Speaking of Vermont, right, and mostly Vermont actually. When I've gone up to like the past Bennington to like Queechee and Woodstock, a lot of people sell wax, like beeswax, but it's been sculptured. Sometimes you see it at farmers markets and things, into little candles or just statues and sometimes plaques for the wall. Have you seen this? And these things are so detailed. And from my touring days, year after year, I would stop the bus at the same places, and they would have the same beeswax sculptures. And wouldn't you think that they would melt, or somehow the integrity of the detail would be lost over years? Never was. It was like they were permanent, even though they were made of wax. That's another thing I think is so interesting. They must have specific molds, because these things, if you know what I'm talking about, they are so beautiful and so fine, you know? Another great craft that like crosses over with the country crafts that I think we're all interested in, right? You can buy every color. Oh, okay, there we go. Don't get me started. I have to finish a chapter tonight, but I'm going to be waiting for that moment that I can go on eBay and start searching for colors of these little diamond gem things. Oh, really, Heidi? It's already in Europe. It's already been around for a few years. I am so late to the party that I had to buy mine. Savers, Heidi, is like a secondhand store. So you know you're late to the party when you don't know that it exists until somebody's like made it, loved it, been there, done that, wore the t-shirt, and then they donate it to Savers. And then somebody like me goes and picks it up. I thought it was fun though. So we took off this weekend and we went to Rockport, and we made some jags along the way because, you know, Jay has an auction business, so he's always looking for treasures to put into auction. And we went very north, right up to the New Hampshire line. We went to an area called Townsend. It's still in Massachusetts, but it's very far north. So we kind of overshot where we would have gone to shoot out to Cape Ann, went further north, right up to that line, found a great tavern, bumped into an antique store, multi-dealer that was so random and huge and so much fun. I didn't find rugs that I liked, but I found a lot of little books and inspiration things. Very, very nice. I took some pictures. I'll show you in the slide thing today. But very, very nice. And then we shot out from Townsend. We went to the Townsend. What was it? The diner, the Townsend Diner. It was like a family restaurant with booths. I love that. And they didn't have a cocktail menu, so I just had to go for like a Maker's Mark and ginger ale, just, for lack of having a martini menu, which is fine. I don't have to be fancy every single time we leave the house, right? So super fun. And then we went east and stopped in Salem. And there was a great store there, too, a great vintage store. Well, are you there? He must have stepped out. It was called something like the Witch City, maybe Witch City Consignment or something, because of Salem and the witches, which I hate personally because that witch trial thing lasted 1 year of their history, and the other 380 years had to do with trading history and building beautiful houses and just being an unbelievably cosmopolitan and interesting town. But we always talk about that one winter of the witch trials, which drives me nuts. But it's still a beautiful town and great to visit. Lots of consignment stuff, lots of places to find treasures. I didn't find rugs that I liked, but there were a few rugs there. They were dirty enough to make them uninteresting for me. But it was a nice break. And I know there were some other things I wanted to tell you. But, I was a really, really naughty little pig, and I took a project that has nothing to do with the book, nothing to do with work or ribbon candy hooking. I took this thing, I transferred this image, it's like a fractor type image, onto whatever backing. I think I had that really soft monk's cloth that I don't like and that I don't sell. I bought a bolt of it and I don't sell it because I don't like it. I use it myself, but it's very glossy, almost like DMC. It doesn't have much stretch. It feels very low quality to me, and it was just as expensive as anything. So I was not happy with that. But I transferred this onto it because I use up all my stuff that I don't like rather than, sending it out to you all. But I got going on that, and I had some beautiful colors that I loved, and I was very, very happy with that project. I hope that I can return to it soon because it's been all work lately and no fun whatever. But that was fun getting away. So let's get back and regroup to our gallery nighttime, and let's see where we left off. Let's see. We were having so much fun on Friday night. The kids were wild, but that does happen, doesn't it? So I think we stopped at this one. I was showing you. I have a couple images that are going to be in the upcoming book. It's a Fox Chapel book, and it should be out in August. All of the new rugs that I've done that will be exclusive patterns and designs. Exclusive to that book, and this is one of them. This was Mum's Flowers, Dad's Weeds. I think that's the one we left off on, and that brings us to Anne. I've got yours right here, Anne Kurtz. So Anne sent some beauties out. This is perfect for Easter. This little bunny one is called The Garden Thief, and the design is Hooked by the Sea. And Anne, you're on. I forget, you make these little trays, or the trays that it's mounted on are so pretty, and you do this often. I love this style of mounting because the question always persists, what do you hang, how do you hang your stuff up? And Anne, I feel like you've nailed this one because everything that I see of yours that's on this kind of a tray/plaque background is so smart, and it's so appropriate to the craft, right? It really fits in with rug hooking. But I love this design by Hooked by the Sea. The Garden Thief, the three little bunnies. You see the three little proudy cottontails, perfect for this time of year. I've seen this pattern done by other people, but Anne, I love your swirls in the sky. I love your colors. I love the variety of the three sweaters, the horizontal stripe, the stripy stripe, and the polka dot. So cute. The 3 carrots. It is so cute. It is so adorable, right, Linda? Absolutely adorable. So, yeah, it is really sweet. And then the next one Anne sent was this beauty. This one is called Chicken Scratch, and this is by a company called Prim in the Country, like primitive, but Prim in the Country. Another one that's on that board that Anne mounts to. Anne says, my husband made the tray from reclaimed wood. I have 2, and I switch out the mats. That's right, you switch the mats out. You know, this is a great idea, isn't it? Because I know in any country, even in Belgium, I don't think in Bruges, I think more busier towns, but even in Belgium, Heidi, I saw like TK Maxx, right? It's the same as TJ Maxx, but for some reason it's called something different in Europe. But TK Maxx, all of these places that we can go, no matter where you are, Pier 1 is one of them, Home Goods is one of them, where you can find things that are made of reclaimed wood. And they are so beautiful and they are typically inexpensive. And it is a great idea to use something like that, a tray, right, from like the kitchen section or the decorating section, as a mount for your smaller rugs. It makes a lot of sense. You could even plan forward, knowing you were going to use a specific thing, and plan size-wise accordingly, right? So that you have a beautiful thing to mount onto. Oh, that's okay. You know, sometimes, Anne, the photos just aren't perfect. We can see exactly what they are. We can see that they're beautiful. Sandra, I just remembered. Sorry, the photos. Sandra said, oh, thank you. Sandra, I have something for you too coming up. Something funny happened in Rockport that made me think of you. So let me come back over here. So, Anne, we love this one too. Chicken scratch is just adorable. Now, this one is, oh, this is Persimmon, right? This one's called Persimmon. What an adorable, nice, classic, folky look. I love this light background. I love the very simple, primitive colors. I love the color of the cat. Everything about the composition really speaks to me. The background is fantastic. Little bit of color shifting in the background, really smart. All the main motifs show, has kind of the quality of a sampler. Persimmon is designed by a company called Wild Cranberry Hooked Rugs. I think this is another one that is so smart and so pretty, and you switched it out onto your trays. That is so, it's great to have a handy person in your life who can help you get your stuff mounted like this and looking this beautiful. Oops, wait a minute. This one, Anne, is your masterpiece, as we know. Sorry, things with squares. So Anne did this one after we did our Designing Like Matisse class. And this is like your masterpiece. I absolutely love this image. So we do our Design Like classes. Design Like Pro McGown is coming up. I had to push it back a little. I'm sorry about that. But this was after Designing Like Matisse. And you can see there are so many Matisse tropes happening here. That's what we look at in these classes. So funny. But Anne said that she was inspired to do this by the memory of finding her cat up on the counter because they'd gotten a new little fish, like a little betta fish. And she said when she saw this scene of the cat in the little fish tank, they switched out, like upgraded the fish tank so that this could not happen again. But isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? That is an absolutely beautiful piece. That was a great class. Matisse is very easy to nail because he did the same tricks again and again and again. And of course, he later in his life switched from painting to just painting straight, flat, primary colors onto paper and then cutting them out and doing his collage series, right? Later in his life when his hands weren't so good. He was still painting the paper, so he got the colors that he wanted, but then cutting them with scissors. And that sort of era of Matisse is very easy and accessible to rug hookers because it's so shape-driven and it's so easy to achieve. What you did, Anne, was not easy to achieve. It is a masterpiece. It's absolutely beautiful. Now, Annette, speaking of Annette, there you are. Annette said, how do you change out the tray? That's a great question, Anne. I'm going to leave that one to you. Do you attach Velcro strips? That's a very good question. We're gonna move over to Annette's. Annette, this is so beautiful. This is your first project ever. This is a great first project. It is so strong. What a beautiful, solid, unified, iconic, classic, forever piece, right? You never get tired of looking at this kind of a design. First project ever, and this is in a class with Cass Gasaway. And this is her design. This is really smart. We were saying on Friday it makes so much sense. Oh, Suzette, I'll see you soon. I'm so sorry. I will open your thing tomorrow. I'm so sorry that I forgot that. I'm such a ring-a-ding-ding-a-ling and all of that this morning. But I know you sent something beautiful. And make sure that you look up Suzette's Penny Rugs. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. So in that, your first project, Cass Gasaway, we were saying on Friday, when you start with a project that is manageable, that is beautiful, that you are guaranteed to have success with, it really starts you off on solid footing, doesn't it? And which isn't to say you can't start with an ambitious piece. I mean, many people do. I did. And one school of thought is, in it's often mine too. One school of thought is, it's just pulling loops, isn't it? So if you have a bigger piece with more colors in it, you're just pulling more loops that are more colors. In theory, yes, but it really depends on the person too. It's very important to choose a piece that you're comfortable with up, way at the beginning of your hooking career, because when you lose traction and you lose confidence with your first or second project, that's when we hear these stories like Karen was saying on Friday, that you just stop hooking for years because you've had it. The experience killed your enthusiasm and your passion for learning and doing. And that's awful when that happens. That is the worst case scenario, isn't it? Those are the stories you never like to hear. Heidi says, I hope my first will also be that good. Heidi, it will be. It will be. It'll be yours. When you do it, it'll be the thing that you choose, and it'll be done by you in the way that you like, and it'll be perfect and special. And you know how I feel about heights of loops and spacing and things like that. They are part of hooking. And if you're a technical person, you're going to want it to be perfect. But if it's not perfect, it's still going to be made by you. It's going to be great. And breaking the seal and getting going is sometimes the hardest thing in the world. Annette said, I mistyped. It was Ganaway. Gannaway. Yep. Great. Thank you so much. I was going to say there are so many S's in class with Gasaway. So I'm glad that it's Ganaway. That's a little bit easier to say too. Isn't that funny? So this is just a beautiful piece. Well done on a very, very strong first piece. And then your second piece, absolutely beautiful. This is very ambitious for a second piece. You did these coasters from the Paris House Woolworks. Absolutely beautiful design. Very hard to do circles. You got a lot of very filigree parts in here. Annette, you killed it. You did really, really well. And this is hard. This is really hard. So let's look at them individually because they are super well done. But these are hard. You did great. Hooking a circle is one of the hardest things there is to do. You got your central circle going. You've got those petals all neatly placed. I noted, Annette, that you wrote, you think that you pack too much, and you said open to feedback and suggestions. My feedback and my suggestion is you don't. These look beautiful. These are very hard. These are very small. This is a real mosaic piece. You've got all circular shapes going here. I don't know how you did as well as you did with this being like your second project, your coasters. I think these are just beautiful. Annette said, oh, Anne, good to see you. I have not gotten to your mat yet. Coming up. Isn't that perfect? Annette says, that was what I got frustrated with, and I put it aside until my class with Cass. Yeah, well, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I can see why you got frustrated, because even looking at this image, beautiful Delft colors, right, came out beautiful. You've got a great shape happening, a great shape with the circle, but it is hard to get it, isn't it? Do you remember what size you were hooking in? This looks like it's maybe a 6. It's hard. I mean, these aren't super thin pieces, and it would be hard to get all those shapes really, really fine and under control, but you did it. Although I can see how it would have been frustrating. You did great, though. These are all very tough designs. I mean, even if they were much larger, they would still be tough designs for a second project, but you did real well. I don't see packing at all. I think you did great. I can see that you're being very literal about where you put the color. You're getting it into the right place. You're getting all of the effects just right. And there is no opportunity to do a lot of directional hooking or any of that stuff when you're doing coasters, right? All you can do with a coaster, because of the size is dictating, is fill it in. And you filled them in beautifully. And it didn't look like you were packing at all. So I think you are off to a raging start. And you should be real proud of yourself. Now, Linda, we are coming to your beauties. You think it was a 7. Yeah, so that's big. I mean, that's big. Once you hit an 8, that's what we then classify as a primitive, right? And that's very wide. That's why we classify 8 and up as primitive. But at 7, you're right a hair under that. And you still manage to get all those little loops to turn and behave in such a way that the patterns are really striking and successful. So you did great with that. You did great. Normally I see coasters done in like a 3 or a 4 because of the size. You had a much bigger cut and you still did great. You should be real proud. Oh, thanks, Heather. Yeah, not the best day so far. I'll tell you when I see you. It was more craziness than I let on. So moving to moving to Linda. Um, Linda, this is so beautiful. I use this one in the book. This is such a great variation on a log cabin. So lively. The colors are really. Oh, let me see. Annette said I wound up making them larger to try to fix the odd shapes. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And a coaster can be any size, right? Can be absolutely any size. There is no standard rule about coaster. So it shows a lot of good common sense and intuition problem solving skills to change the size when you're working on something that's causing you grief and aggravation. Just change the size, right? Nobody is holding you to it. Problem solving is what it's all about, right? Linda, this is so beautiful. I love the colors. I love these pastel colors that are mixed with black. This is so Swatch Watch 80s for me, and that is my sweet spot. I absolutely love it. Really, really, really beautiful. I love it. And Linda sent some real beauties. I love the colors too. Linda, do you remember who this is? This is so pretty. This certainly looks like Canadian school, right? It looks like one of the Canadian painters, but it doesn't necessarily look like Maud Lewis. And I just wondered, because I know they're not on the tip of my tongue, especially today. I know there's a lot of Canadian painters who have done snow scenes in this style, and they are all killers. And I know different companies stock different artists, but this is just beautiful. It is Maud Lewis in the sense of the colors, right? In the subject, the tapping the maple trees with the different colored buckets. We see this in Maud Lewis's art, so maybe it is Maud Lewis. We also see in Maud Lewis's art always in the snow the light blue tracks. That she didn't have a lot of rules for herself, and she didn't have a lot of rules for color. Because they were mostly using marine paints and what they could scrounge that was left over. Okay, great. Thank you, Aileen. So it is a Maud Lewis. So, color-wise, Maud Lewis wasn't consistent, but one thing that she was consistent with was light blue tracks, sugaring. Okay, great. In white snow. So this is just beautiful. Love the simpleness of the design. I love the storytelling. Limited color palette, very, very colorful yet, right? Even the shadow on the house, really simple, beautifully done. So pretty. Didn't we look? Kirsten, we probably did because I recognize the title of it. And I remember we looked at a piece that had all the different color maple sugar baskets because we were looking at the way the spectrum, kind of ray style, was bringing them all to different points in the composition. I think you're right. I think you're right. My memory's slipping, but yeah, that definitely looks familiar. 1, 2, 3, 4 taps on those trees. Really pretty. Linda, that's so pretty. You did a bang up job on that. Some real beauties. I love this one too. This is so good. We still have snow on the ground. I wonder if you all have snow on the ground. This is so pretty. Such filigree, like arms coming off the arms, a kind of like grapevine type branches. I love the light blue snow again. I love the oversized hat. It is so whimsical. I can see that there's buttons applied. It is so whimsical. It is so pretty. The birdhouse hanging is a nice touch. That looks like it's a patterned fabric for the hat band and the scarf, Linda. I wonder if it is. Great shape on that bird, right? It's just very, very simple, primitive shape, very cheerful. Everything is really gelling in this composition. Everything is working. Those horizontal lines are keeping it grounded horizontally because it's a very vertical composition, even the bird's tail and the long birdhouse. But it really is so well balanced and so beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. And I think we have one more from Linda that is another shining star. Oh, it's the Penelope design. So this is the ribbon candy hooking design. Penelope the sheep, and she had a proddy like neck thing. You did a great job with this, Linda. I'm sure I have this one in the book too. I love what you did with the body because this pattern came with tons of white chenille to hook, right? Chenille yarn. So it was part wool strips number 8, part yarn. And you added all of these flourishes, all of these like squiggles into the body of the lamb, which was really smart. It really helped further the texture of it. Beautiful proddy necklace, reminds me of May, right? Reminds me of spring. And I love the simple stripe that you put into the ear. That's really effective. You did a great job with the like nostrils and nose definition because that is always hard on an animal that has an all black face. It is hard to get those lines right, and everybody did them differently. This is beautifully done. This is called Penelope Plaid. Plaid texture. Okay, good. Yeah, on the snowman, patterned wool. That's the perfect time to use patterned wool. Amanda says 2 feet of snow on the ground. Oh no, that's a lot still, isn't it? Oh, pattern was from Paris House. Was that the Paris House, the snowman, Linda? Sure would like to touch the sheep, right, Heidi? It's super soft, super, super, super soft. Yeah, this sheep took so much of the yarn that it was actually a full skein for each project. I mean, it was a crazy amount. But it turned out to be worth it because it gave such a multi-textured look to that piece. That piece is still available. I still have a few more skeins of that. So pretty. So, this piece is done by my friend Laurie Newman. And Laurie, let me introduce it first. Laurie Newman is a felter, right? So we talked about this on Friday. She does the most remarkable needle felting. So she does wet felting. We talked about the distinction. She does wet felting for like the base of her project, and then she will do dry felting on top of it. So she does exquisite work, and I met her because I do these monthly classes in Madison, Connecticut, and I was running a rug hooking class. This month it's penny rugs, and next month it's Amish toothbrush. But she came there to learn rug hooking because she was looking to do some crossover action with her felting, with hooking, to see if it worked. And it does work. It works great, right? So we talked about this on Friday, but when we met and we said, let's do some stuff together, let's plan some stuff together, let's put some of our work together, figure out teaching opportunities for her too, so she can cross over and reach people here who are interested in doing needle felting, because she teaches both in person and on Zoom, and she's just super, super inspired, right? And inspiring, and a very nice person. Love her personality. And for me with teachers, that's a really big deal, because I feel like she's such a solid, fun, and funny person to learn from. So she went on the website and she saw that we were doing the Van Gogh Chair Challenge, and then she whipped this up as a little surprise. Oh, good, the snowman, Linda says, is from Paris House Woolworks. So Laurie whipped this up, and it is the Van Gogh Chair Challenge, which I am still working on. Got to get through this book, and then I can give this my full attention. She did the chair in wet felting, and if you can see, she's got her cat sitting on the seat. She's got a little collage in the frame, a piece of fabric stitched in. She's done some stuff with stitching. I think she does machine stitching and hand stitching onto the wet felt. So she is still using wool, right? She's still using wool the way that we use wool, but she's using wool roving. She's ripping off pieces like cotton candy, putting them where they belong, needle felting them into place. She is wet felt. This piece is, I think, entirely wet felted. And then later, right, Lisa, it's amazing. Later she goes back into it, and you can either go back in on a sewing machine because you've got a textile, right? You can run this under a regular sewing machine. You shouldn't need a commercial sewing machine. You can put a stronger needle on yours if you're worried about it. Just make sure, tip from somebody who went to school for costume design and was hit in the eyeball so many times by a needle. For whatever reason, when you're on a sewing machine and that needle is going to break, I don't know what it is, if it's Murphy's Law or what, but when that needle breaks, it 100% of the time, I didn't wear glasses then, flies up and hits you in one of your two eyes. What are the chances? 100%. So be sure that if you are going to attempt to do stuff with wet felting and you're using a regular sewing machine from the craft store, wherever, and not a commercial sewing machine, make sure that you at least put clear glasses on in case your needle does break. Or you can just change your needle out so it's a little bit more of a hefty needle, more of a utilitarian needle, like a leather needle or something like that, to go through. Depends on how thick your felt is, right? But using your sewing machine or a hand needle to go into a felted project like this and add bling, add details, add stitching, not only does it help the texture of the fabric, right? Because if you're having issues with thicknesses with your wet felted piece, you go back in with a sewing machine, almost like quilting a quilt, quilting those 3 layers of a quilt. You go back in with your sewing machine, you can really nail down problems, unevenness by doing embroidery onto a felted piece. This is a different world, super inventive. We're going to continue to talk about this world because it's a good place to be. So we'll do more of this in about a month or so when things truly quiet down. So that was a beautiful piece of hers. This is another piece that I just put into the book. This is the punch needle chapter. So this is a ribbon candy hook and design, but it will be exclusive to the book. Teacup Mansion. This is a punch design. It is quite big. It's not perfect, but I've been in such a tailspin. It was good enough at a certain point. It's all hand dyed. There's a lot of little touches. You'll be able to see it better in the book. There's a lot of color changing yarn in it, and it's all three ply Briggs and Little from the Maritime family. But I just kind of sketched out. I wanted the teacup. I put the primitive house in it. I put in a few farmy animals. Kind of wish I had them pointing in different directions now that I look at it, but hindsight is 20/20. If you end up getting the book and doing this pattern, feel free to move the animals around or add your animals to it. But I love this composition. This is one of my favorite pieces I've ever done. This in the Mom's Flowers, Dad's Weeds. But it is, thanks Kirsten, it is a super fairy tale quality. It's very, very bright neon, brighter than it looks. And in this case, I outlined in this very, very burnt orange, like a Halloween orange. And it was a different texture. That was the one fabric in this that I didn't dye. It wasn't Briggs and Little. It was like a mix yarn, and that was a bad call. So beware. I'm sure you are ahead of me in the brain process here, but you know, it was not easy punching with something that had a sheen. You can, and sometimes I do, but for outlining purposes, I actually outlined it a lot higher. I had my little O-rings on my Amy Oxford punch, and it was a different height. And for that reason, it created chaos. It really did. It cost me more time than I thought it would, and I was very, very upset with myself. If I had a hair shirt, I would have put it on and been whipping myself many times during this project. But I love the way it turned out in the end. It is quite neon, and it's always an interesting thing to think about when you do outlining and you love that graphic look. I love that graphic look. Always think about outlining in a different color, because we tend to think about black or blue or brown. You can outline in any color, and it really changes the personality of your piece. I think using a bright orange color and then using lots of soft pastels that are bordering on neons does create a fairy tale look. It's a completely different palette, but if I had outlined in black, it would be a very different piece, and I know for myself I wouldn't like it as much. But if you get this, you should do it just the way that you want it. It has got to be your favorite colors, all your favorite colors in here. Maybe the color of your house and the color of your animals. If you have any of these animals, you could swap out the bunny for your dog or your cat, or you know, anything. Thank you, Joan. I love this piece, but I'm very glad that I'm done with it. Dun, 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 dun. This is the piece that I put in for a, this isn't a good photo. I'm gonna have to switch it out. This is mini punch. So this is the Russian punch. This is teeny, teeny, tiny. This is a piece in the book called Trail of Painted Ponies, I think I called it. But yeah, this is not a good photo. I'm gonna have to switch this one out. But this is this miniature Russian punch, teeny, 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 tiny. This is done in acrylic, right? I like those acrylic spools. But I kind of patchworked out these ponies. This is another one that comes as a pattern. You do it in whatever colors you like. I kept the ponies kind of pastel-y colors, 1920s colors, and in the background, I liked it to be that kind of periwinkle lilac going down to cranberry, and cranberries going down to grapes and browns. This isn't super true to color the way I'm seeing it on my monitor. I've got kind of pistachio and mint colors in the corner. Pulling from a lot of different places, but I also really love this piece, and that would represent the miniature punch chapter. So those are 3 designs that were in there. Kaz sent some beautiful pieces. She's teaching this morning. Of course, she's a teacher, but she sent this as her all-time favorite rug. I absolutely love this. It's called Ringo's Dream, and this is her son playing the drums with their dog Ringo, who apparently napped through the band practicing all the time, was always there right next to the drums. The son has this funny costume on in this, but this is just, I think, such a funny storytelling rug. And I love this rug. It's very personal for Kaz, and her son now has this. I think her son has a tailor shop, if I remember right. He now has this up in the shop. And what a beautiful example of a storytelling rug that reflects a story from your family, right? Just beautiful. I absolutely love this. You could play, Aileen says you could play with the contrast of your photo and pop the color. Yeah, I think I probably will. I've just been, you know, with the 14 projects, original rugs that I had to do, the main thing has been just getting them done. I'm so bad at the technical stuff. That's the thing. So we'll see what they come back with, and I think I'm going to be looking at a galley at some point, and I'll be having to check to see how true the colors are, because we photograph everything in a like professional studio set that, you know, Jay's got the whole thing set up over there. But sometimes I think with that studio setting, even though it's perfect, technically perfect, sometimes it's missing something, like it's missing the glow. And that one I photographed in that setting, and now I'm wishing, and I can swap it out still. I'd like to photograph it in daylight, even though that can give you very uneven light. It'll give you more true light for that piece because those loops are so small. I noticed with, thanks Aileen, I noticed with all the rugs that I use for the miniature punch chapter, I think everybody struggles with that. They look great in person and they glow in person, but it is hard to get a picture of something, particularly when it's small, that it really is true to the color because the colors are so good. I wonder if I have that piece. You know what? I might have that piece right there. Let me see if I can grab it. Yeah, it's right here. It is probably even worse on the monitor. It's on this weaver's cloth, right? It's probably even worse on the monitor. Let me see if the back of it is any better. No, not really. I'm just seeing all the little tails. I'll see if I can fool with it some more. But even in daylight, I think that's an improvement on what it actually looks like on the photo. We'll see. All right, let's get back. Kaz showed us Ringo's Dream, which is one of my all-time favorite pieces. And Kaz sent another beautiful rug of her dog, Makwa, and beautiful dog. And in this photo, Kaz, you are doing so well. Oh, Heather said cloudy days are best for daylight photos. That's a good tip, because me being a stooge, I was just thinking I'll take it out to the parking lot and put it right under the sun. That's a good, oh, are the colors much better in that one, Anne? All right, well, that just decides me that I need to take a better photo of it, because that's upsetting, right, when the photo is not doing it justice. May add something to get it perspective. Yeah, absolutely. So this is Makwa. This is Kaz's dog. Such a sweetie. Such a sweet little thing, sweet little face. And you can see she really captured the personality of the dog, right? And she used a beautiful grass background, similar color background, but that wild fur, that sweet smile, those soft little eyes, little glint in the eye. So cute. Really so cute. I absolutely love that, Kaz. You sent some beauty. She's going to watch tonight when she gets in, and that'll be so much fun. Anne Ledger. All right, so let me bring this one down. Anne, this is your piece that you sent me, and this is just beautiful. Anne set a great example for us. So, Anne, you finished this piece in 1988. Absolutely beautiful. What a gorgeous rug. I love the border. I love the basket. I love the colors. I love the cross-section of the fruit. I love the blue flowers, right? The shape of those round blue flowers with like the spoke skeleton inside. Absolutely beautiful. Faces are quite a challenge. They are, Linda, I think particularly with animals. Yeah, that was a wonderful example. Oh, okay, Aileen agrees. Bright days wash out the colors. It is bright out there now. I'm going to give it another shot. Now, you got me inspired that I can get a better picture of that piece because I was not happy with that. See, it's always worth talking it out, isn't it? You all know different things. It's very helpful. That is gorgeous, right, Annette? And this is just beautiful. And not only is it beautiful, but we are about to see an example of the best documenting of a rug I've ever seen. So let me get over here. So that's Anne's piece. It's a big wow. And on the back, right, this piece is registered with a New Brunswick register for mats that are 20 years or older because she finished it in 88. So when you look on the back, you see the title, right? You see the pattern, the supplier is Yankee Peddler. You see the instructor, who it's hand-hooked by, so that's Anne, and completed. I mean, all of the information that you need, what it's made up of, wool swatches and recycled wool on burlap. This is such definitive and complete documenting. This is really what we need to do on all of our rugs to be sure that the legacy of the rug is safe and secure. Because whether people, realize it or now, I know rug hooking is not at its all-time highest popularity at this moment in time. I bet you it'll come back around again. And it's going to be so important that we have documented these rugs over time, right? Even within our lifetimes, it's important that we document them. It's important that we say who the designer is. If there's a teacher that really lent something to the piece, that's important too. For me, mostly the person who hooked it and the design. Those are the things I always want to know most, but this piece is so complete in the way that it's recorded. It is just super professional, and it's a beautiful piece. It is a beautiful piece. Let's look at it one more time. I'm going to wrap up in a second because I know we're super late. That is just gorgeous. I love the way you did the basket too. Really nice. That outlining is just, it's just pristine. It's just gorgeous. Now Linda sent some beautiful ones too. Isn't this adorable? Linda Hutnick. She said this was a rooster. She drew this from, it sounded like a floor cloth from a canvas floor mat she had. She drew it straight from that and she wanted to hook it. So she turned it into a hooking pattern. So pretty. This is such a great country design. I love the checkerboard. You know I love a good checkerboard, right? That is glorious rug, isn't it, Amanda? The checkerboard is beautiful. I love the detail to the wing, to the tail. It's so folky. And this rooster has so much personality, right? So much. I'm just reading the comments. Aileen says, beats maker unknown and adds interest, understanding of the evolution of the craft. Absolutely, absolutely. And you are so welcome. That was a beautiful piece. Linda, this is so charming. This is so charming. I love country primitive. This fits right into that category. It is so charming. Look at the beautiful directional hooking around the rooster, particularly around the tail. You get such a gentle feeling of movement, right? It's a very peaceful piece. But again, the personality of this particular rooster is very, it's like the signature to the piece, isn't it? He seems like he's got some attitude. And it's a little bit hubris for that. I think this is a beautiful piece. And Linda also did this piece, and I love Halloween. Halloween rugs are my all-time favorites. She said the reason she wanted to do this piece is because she wanted to experiment with using quilly for the eyes. And that is a great reason, because this looks just like those 1910s, 1920s paper mache jack-o'-lanterns and candy containers from that era, right? The early era of marketing Halloween, you know, as a holiday and selling stuff. Those paper mache little jack-o'-lanterns look just like this, with these wide, grinning, smiling comic faces. I love the color change around the stem. Those quilly eyes are perfect. The sort of scarecrow nose is very 1920s. A lot of character, and the quilly turned out great. This is just how you want to use quilly. A lot of these pumpkins from this period of design do have a swirling eye. As do cartoon characters from this period. So really smart, really interesting, really good use of quilly. And a great way to start quilly, because quilly is, you know, when you roll up like a little cinnamon bun, some pieces of wool, it can be overwhelming to think of a quilly project that won't have you making 50 quilly right out of the gate. Doing little eyeballs like that is smart, isn't it? Particularly with a pumpkin. Linda, those are just beautiful. Just like the old, yep, Joan, exactly, like the old Halloween postcards. So, Sandra, you know how we were saying, Sandra showed us the hamburger piece on Friday night, and she was saying, I'm trying to think about how to hang it because it's going in the kitchen. And somebody said, Linda, it might have been you, somebody said, why don't you get a giant fork and hang it? And I said, that is the best idea. What an appropriate way to hang your big hooked hamburger, but how are you going to get a giant fork? Well, while we were walking around Rockport this weekend, I walked by this cafe right on what was it, Jay? Bearskin? Bear Neck. Yeah, Bearskin Neck Road. It goes right down to the water. Pedestrian only road with like lots of little shops. This Bean and Leaf Cafe was there, and guess what they had in the window? A giant fork, like almost as big as the door. I thought it was so funny. You're getting sleepy with those eyes, that's right. But I thought that was so funny. It's like ask and you shall receive, isn't it? We were just talking about giant forks, and there is a giant fork. I don't think you can steal it, and they probably won't sell it, but you might want to give them a call and say, where did you get your giant fork? How funny, huh? Now, what else did I see? I walked by this also on the same little road, Bearskin Neck. Beautiful galleries on here, and I was looking and thinking to myself, what's that thing in the window? What's that colorful thing in the window under all those snowflakes? And I got up closer, almost slipped on the snow. It was a lot of snow there, and it was this, right? So this isn't what we do, but doesn't this remind you of the possibilities of a braided rug? This is rope, right? Because this is a nautical town, Rockport. This is rope. It's been dyed, and it's been placed into the composition the same way that you could if you were using braids. People do the most intricate work with braids, wool braids, like braiding rugs, but dropping it into a composition rather than lacing it into a rug configuration. You can do this with braids too. And I thought, isn't this a great reminder that this is something that we can do with our leftover braids, particularly if you've got small little braids, right? Not giant ones, or you need a larger piece. But I thought this is a great inspiration piece. I thought that this was just gorgeous. The other thing that I saw this weekend that I wanted to share with you was that toothbrush rug. One of the chapters of my eye just started twitching when I said chapters because this book is killing me. One of the chapters is the toothbrush rug. So that's one of the ones that I just submitted on Friday. That you make, you know, in the olden days when you cut your toothbrush, which had a hole in it, and filed it down to a little dull point, you would be able to basically use one stitch, and that is the basket stitch. Some people call it the buttonhole stitch. It's the same stitch with your needle, which is your broken off toothbrush, threaded with usually cotton, right? Usually cotton. You can use wool. It will be a lot of wool because that's a pig of a rug in terms of quantity that you need. But using cotton, leftover cotton bed sheets, even t-shirts, things like that works very cool, very well, very easy. So I actually found a very old toothbrush rug. This is probably 1930s, maybe 1940s, but it was so dirty, you know, it was so, and it's not like it was stained. It was just like, man, you can't imagine how many dirty rugs I've got around right now. And I love them all, and they're all special and different. This one just kind of stopped me in my tracks. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer because it was the oldest toothbrush rug I've seen, you know, out in the world, not in captivity, but out in the world, out for sale. It was $35. I probably should have gotten it. It looks like it was done with cotton, not wool, but absolutely beautiful color change. It was, when I lifted it up, it was like that rug that I still haven't been able to show because it's got like a beach worth of sand, you know, like the entire beach. This one was the same. It was really, it was unbelievable how much sand and dirt was in it. So it means it was doing its job all the years that it was in service, and it really was beautiful. I just couldn't justify it at that moment. But I wanted to show it to you because it was truly beautiful. It was in the antique store in Townsend, Massachusetts, right up on the New Hampshire line. And it really was beautiful. And you know what was interesting about, I forgot to put that picture up. Beautiful. Oh, I think we got some spamming going on. That Mill Townsend, where it's like an antique gallery now. It's the multi-dealer store, right? So it'll be the only one in town if you want to go there and get that toothbrush rug. They had a braided rug in the same stall with the same seller in bright red and really dark purple. So unusual, really beautiful, but it was under a pile of cast iron pans, and I just couldn't. But it was beautiful and for sale. Really beautiful, both of them. So this town, Townsend, right, their antique gallery is in this wonderful old mill building. Really inspiring. Just the kind of place that I want to see ribbon candy hooking going into at some point. An old mill, this vast parking lot, and this little rambling wooden building. Typical mill building. Not like a brick factory type building, but, you know, kind of rambling, different levels, all wood on the inside, you know, more than one floor, kind of staggered. Really beautiful, mysterious, charming, moment in time kind of rambling New England mill. And it was the former building that housed, do you remember Elsa Williams, the needlepoint designer? That was her building. That was where she had her headquarters. It was like the central nervous system. And it's a huge, vast building that sprawls. Such an interesting building to be inside of. That was her building. And there was like a little exhibit when you first went in that showed you some wool swatches, like her Persian wool, all the different colors and some of her designs up on the wall, just as kind of a hat tip to all of those years where Elsa Williams was situated in that building. And I thought, man, what a thing. She got so far, she got so famous for her beautiful needlepoint, right, wool work, pillows and things, patterns. They are still super high end now. And you see them pop up like, you know, older ones on eBay, and they are very expensive because she was like the toppermost poppermost and absolutely beautiful. But that was her building, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to take that detour kind of further north, because I knew that that was her building. I read that and I thought, oh, I would like to go inside Elsa's building, be a part of that history, and it was wonderful to be inside it. And I did find the toothbrush rug there and braided rug and a few other rugs that I just didn't need, but maybe you do. Townsend, Mass. So it was a lot of fun. Would likely be impossible to clean. Aileen, it would at least be a horrible mess, right? It would be like outside beating it for season after season. Um, I mean, it was still so bright and beautiful when I flipped it over. It hadn't faded at all. Fading wasn't a thing, but just the amount of dirt that had gotten into it over time. And that rug did a great job. That's exactly what that rug was supposed to do. Um, but yeah, it was just one of those things. I'm just not there right now with chaos, more chaos and more messes and more project. Just wasn't there, but it was beautiful, and it's still there if you want it. That was just the other day. So it was fun concluding this gallery episode with you. Tomorrow is the day that I'm going to start. I'm very low on energy right now. I'm flagging in a huge way, and I need to finish putting together these. I need to finish that chapter on felt needle for the book. Ha ha ha. Twitch, twitch, twitch. But I finished dyeing all the colors for the cottontail because the cottontail class, whether you're doing the class or not, I dyed all of the colors Thursday, Friday, in between writing. Remember the cottontail thing that I was working on with the Grenfell Stockings? So this is the lime pop color. And I dyed this cranberry, which I thought was really good for the rabbit's eye. I like the eye to be like a little, I don't want it to be red. Reminds me of like laboratory animals and things. I want it to be more of a cranberry. But I got all of these colors. I did some beautiful grays for outlining too. I'm going to wind all these and get all these kits out because all the pantyhose and that are all dyed and done. I'll get all those out today, and I think I'm going to pop over Michelle McRelly's house later to pick up a bolt of linen because linen is still on back order with door wool. They have been out of stock for linen and rug warp for like over a month at this point. So it's been a real grief and aggravation thing because I'm trying to get kits out. So I think I'm going to pop over and get some just from Michelle, just rather than waiting because I usually do the wholesale thing with Door. If you are looking for linen or monk's cloth, they're in stock for monk's cloth. If you're looking for rug warp or linen, you probably want to check with them and get your name on something before they run out again because quantities and supply is a real problem right now for some things, as I'm sure you've heard on the news, and that's one of them. So monk's cloth is okay, but linen has not been okay. So I'll probably stop over Michelle's, and maybe I'll make a plan to have her back on the show again soon. I can't stay for too long, and she gets me going. She's always got a picture of margaritas over there. It's just so naughty in the middle of the day. But I'll be back to you tomorrow, and let's start with looking at this book, which we have looked at. We'll cover this for a day or two. Definitely tomorrow, and I'll put up the thing. This is the last contest book sponsored by Rug Hooking Magazine, the second Tamara Pavich Rug Hooking Journeys. So I'll put up the video in a minute when we close this, and then you can add, I'll think of what to comment on it. But you just place a comment according to the rules, and I'll add the link to this contest book, to this video after I close it, and also to our Facebook page, which is Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club. So you have a chance to enter and win. There will be 3 winners of that book. I'll do that today. We'll look at the book tomorrow, and next Monday, right, we will do the giveaway for the book. I don't think I'm going to be on Wednesday. I have 2 doctor's appointments this week. My health is really going, all this stress. So I think on Wednesday that's the day I don't. But I'll definitely be on tomorrow. I'll confirm coffee time hours with you this week, and I'll get going with this giveaway so you can enter to win, and you know that your name is in the hat for that too. So thank you. I definitely need to sleep. I think all that crazy crying made me very, very tired. But I'll get that video out. I'll get some kits out, and it was great seeing you all. Oh, thank you, Heidi. I will. I will try to have a good. I will try to have a good day. I can salvage this. I can turn this ship around if I just put my mind to it. Maybe I just need a little bit more rest. So thank you, everybody. Enjoyed looking at the variety of rugs. Me too. Let's do it again. Start thinking about what rugs you are going to submit for next month when we have our gallery night, right? Think about what you want to send in. It can be your favorite. It can be the one you're working on now. It can be anything, but we would love to look at what you're working on. So be thinking about that in the back of your head. Thank you. I'm going to give it a try. If I take a nap, I might even make it to the gym later. Wouldn't that be something? Turning the ship around. Turn it around. Thank you, Amanda. I got this at Savers, Happy Sweater. And then I was crying because I was wearing Happy Sweater with my balloon dog earrings and feeling so unhappy that I felt like the sweater was almost taunting me in a way. Not a good day. So we will see. I will see you tomorrow. Anne says, crying always makes you sleepy. It does, doesn't it? Oh my God. I will see you tomorrow, and look out for that video. I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day.